Serge Aurier, Everton's Ross Barkley and Liverpool's Divock Origi are all expected to come up in our weekly Tottenham Hotspur QA web chat. With just 3 days left of the transfer window, Spurs are expected to sign a minimum of 3 players before the deadline is done. Estudiantes defender Juan Foyth is on the verge of signing for Mauricio Pochettino's side, while Aurier is awaiting documentation over his move from France. Our Tottenham writer Alistair Gold is ready to answer as many of the supporters' questions posed on Twitter and Facebook as he can during today's QA session. Paris Saint-Germain's Serge Aurier could move to Spurs. There are likely to be plenty of questions on Eric Lamela, Vincent Janssen, Danny Rose and the Burnley draw as we look at everything Tottenham Hotspur related right now. Talking points: Spurs need some magic. What the boss said. Player ratings: we've got all the questions asked and the answers below. 1638 You can't spend big money on a striker and expect him to be back up to Kane. They just won't come, and Pochettino does not play formations that use 2 strikers. Alvaro Morata had no interest in coming in as second choice. If Spurs spend big money, it will be elsewhere. A striker signing would be a younger player or someone experienced willing to play second fiddle. 1636 The money Spurs got for Walker, Njie, Fazio and Bentaleb is around £100 million. Will Spurs try get in a striker, as it looks like there is money for it? 1634 I'd love to be at the Premier League International Cup match against West Ham, but there's a certain transfer deadline day, which we'll be covering from start to finish on Football London, that is likely to keep me rather busy. He'll be back for the Swansea U23s match in a fortnight or so. 1632 Will you be at the Lamex on Thursday? P10 at P2 Boogie, August 29, 2017. 1630 There's certainly a line of thought that suggests that spending the money on wages for the current stars rather than new signings could help Spurs in the long run. Pochettino wants fresh blood though. He wants to rejuvenate his squad, and you can already see that from the departures. I still believe that new contracts will be coming for many of the team in the early months of the season. 1628 All the pundits and many fans say we need to bring in reinforcements ahead of the deadline, but my question is, would the money we're spending be better used in increasing the infamous wage structure, giving Toby what he wants, etc., bearing in mind we have Rose, Lamela, Wanyama etc. due back from injury. 1627 Most players need a second year to settle into a new club, and football is a game of fine margins. His pass to Eriksen was superb on Sunday. Sissoko is a strange player. He's got the skill set to be a monster, but sometimes his technique is simply monstrous. He told his Instagram followers yesterday that he is sticking around, so he needs to step up a level now. 1625 If Eriksen doesn't flub the first touch, Sissoko ends up with a great game-winning run assist. Optimism: he can greatly improve this year. Alex Johnson at Mr. Johnson 915 August 29, 2017. 1622 He's not quite ready for the Premier League and sometimes goes missing in U23s matches, but with Poch having watched that brilliant goal against Manchester United last week from the stands, you wouldn't rule out a place on the bench if squad numbers are low in the months to come. The League Cup will be his chance to impress. 1620 Do you think Marcus Edwards will be able to break into the first team this season? Matthew Lathlian at Lathers 787 August 29, 2017. 1616 Foyth has broken into the Estudiantes team in the last 6 months or so and is an Argentina youth international. He was at U20 World Cup, which England won. To attract the attention of both Spurs and PSG among others, you've got to have something about you. Foyth is going to be one for the future, but with Wimmer going and Carter Vickers going out on loan, Poch clearly feels he could play a part as the season goes on if required. 1614 Is Foyth really going to be any good? He seems to have a very slight build, which is not great for a centre-back in the Premier League. 1612 If you'd asked me this a few days ago, I'd have said just 3, as that's what Poch told me in Friday's press conference. However, after Sunday's match, he's been quoted in a couple of interviews as saying 3 minimum, so there could just be another name at least heading to Hotspur way. 1610 Are we likely to see more than 3 signings before the deadline? Richard Davies at Richard Davies 20 August 29, 2017. 1609 For Poch to bring on Sanchez on Sunday and push Alderweireld up front rather than use Janssen said it all. It's a World Cup year coming up and the Dutchman needs game time. Minutes here and there just won't cut it, and while he's a raw product, his manager doesn't seem to trust him right now. If Spurs can get a replacement in, then he very well could move on. 1607 Is Janssen looking at getting more game time this season, or had Poch decided HES not right for us? 1605 Poch's comments on the situation on Friday were quite telling. Not only did he reveal he'd had an hour-long chat with the defender, where the Belgian told him how happy he is at Spurs, the Tottenham boss said quite clearly that once the transfer window is done, Daniel will try to work and make happy every single player of the club. Since most of the players signed their new deals, Spurs have finished second and got into the Champions League again. I wouldn't be shocked at another raft of renewals which bumps up the wage structure a bit. 1602 As much as new signings are important, will Toby be given a much-deserved pay rise and longer contract? Market Mark 1574896 August 29, 2017 1600 The unity is there. You can see that among the players behind the scenes, when they're warming up and coming into and leaving the stadium. I do however agree that the Dele grin was missing on Sunday. What was that celebration a lack of? All about not even the flicker of a smile after scoring at a key moment. I'm yet to find any link with him to Burnley, so one can only assume he wasn't in the greatest of moods at the time. Perhaps a half-time telling off from Poch. 1558 What has happened to the team unity, and where is the Dele cheeky grin? 1556 It may be the supporter in me, longing for an exciting deadline day, but I just feel Spurs need to make some kind of statement in the coming days. We've seen defenders galore linked, but not enough attacking midfielders. I would be shocked if Daniel Levy isn't trying to make a marquee signing a reality in the next 48 hours or so, but whether HES got the wage structure to make it happen is another thing. 1554 Are we going to see a massive VDV style signing on deadline day? Graham Simpkins at XFat Bloke August 29, 2017 1552 Chief Scout Steve Hitchen will have been compiling plenty of names along with Levy and Pochettino in recent months. Spurs are one of the quietest teams in terms of getting their business done. Others make much bigger noise in the market, but Sanchez is a good example of how the club's move only became known about a week before the deal happens. Tottenham keep their cards close to their chest. It frustrates fans and media, but it helps them get deals done. 1550 Do we have backup targets if Aurier, Barkley, or origi fall through? 1549 I can see both sides of the argument. I understand the frustration of watching other clubs spend big and sign stars, but I also get it that Spurs currently shop from a different section of the market, or at least wait until others have got their targets. Davinson Sanchez is the perfect example of this. The player could fit in at most clubs in the Premier League, but Spurs had to be patient in order to get to his signature. There was an interesting chart which shows that in terms of revenue Spurs are spending a comparable rate on wages as their rivals. 1547 When will fans get to grips with DL not getting involved with this massive overspend of teams? Chiari Fighter at Carbon_Robert August 29, 2017 1546 Mauricio Pochettino is a massive fan of Ross Barkley, and if there's a way of getting the Ross Barkley deal done in the next few days, Spurs will try to do it. If they leave it until January because of his injury, they risk others spending the next 4 months throwing money at him. There is also the strange situation where Everton haven't announced the details of his injury or recovery time. As for Sessegnon, Spurs are interested in the player and bid before he signed his new deal in June, but are not considering another bid this window. 1543 I believe that we will bid late for Ryan Sessegnon and Ross Barkley. What's your view on this? 1535 You might see him in the League Cup matches, but HES still training half and half with the first team and development squad. HE's still building up his fitness and hasn't been starting every game for the U23s, coming off the bench a couple of times so far. The experience of playing in the Hong Kong friendly and even the match in the Checkatrade Trophy will serve the teenager well, but it was telling that he wasn't called up on the USA Tour. 1533 How's Kajai Sterling developing? Will he see first team action this season? Hotspur Chat at chat_Hotspur August 29, 2017